Sophia Media. On every life's journey, we encounter many firsts. First word, first love, first trauma, first time leaving home. And those moments shape the course of our lives. Welcome to My First Year podcast series. And this is My First Year, the anthology. I'm Sophia, creator of the series. So today's episode is selected from our upcoming podcast, My First Year in America. I like to spend a minute talking about this upcoming show because this is the show that started it all. As an immigrant myself, I've been wanting to do a podcast about the immigration experience for years. And when I floated the idea of My First Year in America with my mom, she said, "Oh, you could do so many different shows about different first-year experiences. The possibilities are endless." As per usual, Mom is absolutely right. So here we are, 2 years later, launching 6 different shows as part of the My First Year podcast series. I really love working on them all, but I have to say, My First Year in America has a special place in my heart. I'm thrilled to introduce to you this episode of My First Year in America, co-hosted by the brilliant Adoley and our special guest.
Our special guest is Twiggy Damy. Twiggy lives in Oakland, California with her 16-year-old son. She also has a 28-year-old son and is a foster mom to a 15-year-old. She works in San Francisco for the Instituto Familiar de la Raza in the Enhanced Care Management Program. She also supports families involved with Child Protective Services.
In this episode, she spoke to us about her own immigration journey back in 1991 and talked about how, as a teenager, she found a way to leave Mexico and be reunited with her mom in the United States.
It's great to meet you. My parents are immigrants to America, and I've spent time living abroad and coming back here. So it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about your story.
Let's start with your childhood. And if you could tell us a little bit about where you grew up.
Well, I am originally from Mexico, from Acapulco, Mexico. I grew up in the beach. It's a very beautiful place. Living in Acapulco and having the beach and friends. I used to be a girl that used to play on the streets. I climbed trees when I was little. I was misbehaving as many teenagers, As a child, I was with my mom and dad until at the age of 5, I lost my dad through a car accident. I had a baby brother at the time, so it was my baby brother. He was 8 months and I was 5 years old. And I think it was life-changing. It really changed our lives because my dad was 26 years old when he passed. My mom was a 21-year-old.
Wow.
So she was a very young person with 2 little kids. So after that situation, my paternal grandmother, she was a very smart woman, and she was in such a pain that her only thing that could keep her alive was her grandkids. And she came to my mom and said, "You know what? Why don't you allow me to help you? And let me help you with the kids." And of course, when you're 21, 22 years old, and you ask, you offer help, for her it was easy. It was easy in a way because culturally and historically in our families, it was a history of grandmothers taking care of grandchildren. So for her, it was easy to say, "Yeah, sure, okay, they're with a grandma." And that was another chapter, another thing for us, especially for me, because I was 5 and there were too many changes at the same time. Of course, I love my grandma. I knew her. She was part of my life, anyways. But suddenly one day, my mom had a sister who was living in Los Angeles. And she was a 22-year-old doing a lot of things. She was also like a free bird, just being out there, having fun. Yes, working, but it was different. And my grandma, her mother, was kind of like motivating her to move to United States. So she called her younger sister and asked her like, "Hey, why don't you help your sister? Bring her with you." And my mom agreed. It's like, okay, I can have maybe better opportunities for my children. And she decided to move to the United States. It was a new chapter, new another thing, happening to me at the time.
And you were 5.5 years old?
I was when my dad died, I was 5. When my mom moved to United States, I was about 7. And I remember that day like it was yesterday because it was a rainy day. And luckily I woke up and my mom was she already had suitcase with her. She was about to leave without saying goodbye. So it was like, I mean, I woke up and I'm like, "Where are you going?" And she's like, "Well, I'm going." And I remember that I was like numb, like I didn't understand. You know, it was raining, and a taxi came, and I remember I was like looking her leaving. Looking at the taxi disappearing, and I think in that time I just hold it. I had no idea what was happening. But she left us with my dad's mom, who was very loving and caring, and she did her best to really support us, give us a lot of love, a lot of activities. She didn't let us breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Dance, swimming, painting, other scouts, church. It was too much.
So you moved to you and your brother moved in with her with
Yeah,
your
yeah. We were already kind of living there, but
Oh,
spending
okay.
time with mom, we were like kind of back and forth. We were there, but still having mom close.
Yeah.
That day that she decided to move, I was spending the night with her. And then, that's when I saw her that she decided to leave. And then she was leaving.
Did you think that she was going to come back soon?
She told me she was leaving, that she was coming to United States, and I had an idea because I was old enough to know that my aunt was not that was living in the United States. And again, I think as a child who had like so many changes and losses, it was also confusing. I think I was like a numb for many years. I lost my dad at 5, and I think I started realizing I was not gonna see him until I was like 8.
Mm-hmm.
And that when the trauma hit, the reality
Yeah.
hit. So, but I think my grandma, she gave us her love and care and to my a lot of protection. And I would speak with my mom at that time in the oh my god in 80s late in the
Mm-hmm.
80s. It was a phone call maybe every month.
Yeah.
So maybe every month she would call us. And I remember when I would hear her voice, I would like want to cry. And my grandma would be like, "Why are you crying? Why are you crying? You want her to think that you're not doing fine? You're not doing fine?" And I was like, "No,
Oh.
no, no, I'm fine. I was okay. I can't. He didn't allow me to cry. And now I see it. Now that I am an adult, I can see all those things that happened as a child and how it has impacted me in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But well, that's how it was, and that's how it was. So after that, I was always dreaming to be with my mother. That always stay in my mind. I will be with my mother. It's not like she came in the 80s and she didn't come back. Her life was back and forth all the time. She
Yeah.
would come to the United States for 2 years and then go back for another 2 years. The first time, she went back to Mexico. She was ready to pick up her kids. She was ready. She's like, well, I'm back. I want my kids back. But it was after 2 years, my grandma already didn't want to let us go, And my mom didn't know what it was to have two kids that she didn't see in 2 years because it was
Right.
not going to be easy for her. So she tried. She took us to her house. Of course, my grandmother was devastated, but she was always there. And we were very disobedient. We were not doing homework. My mom would work all day. And again, she was still young. She was still in her 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So she would have friends, and maybe after work, maybe to see her friends. So she would come home like 10, and the kids didn't do homework, didn't take a shower. We were very handful because she didn't know how to deal with us as kids. And eventually she returned us to my grandmother, where we have structure. With my grandmother, we did have a structure and discipline, and she was there, Eventually, she returned to the United States and back and forth until I was maybe the age of 14, when she thought it was the time she was going to stay with us. Close, not in the same house, but she was there. And one day, talking to her, she was in love of this person. And I said, Mom, it was about to be my 15th birthday. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Mom, why don't you invite him to my birthday? And she's like, no, I haven't talked to him. Like, yes, call him. And she called him, and she's like, okay. She hung up the phone, and she tells me, like, he's coming next month. I was like, what?
From the U.S., from
From
Los
the
Angeles.
U.S., from the U.S.
Uh-huh.
He was from San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
And when she met my stepdad, I loved him. I love him so much. He came to live with us. But if I would be with him, I love him. If I would be with my mom, I love her. But if we three of us would be together, I gave hell to my mom because I was jealous, because I didn't understand. Now I have my mom, and now I don't have her again.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very, in that way. I mean, I understood now that I'm an adult. I'm like, oh, poor thing. He was a natural person, but I was a teenager. And then when my mom was always in love with this guy. So when after I turned 15, he decided to come back to San Francisco, and my mom is like, I'm coming. And now and I'm sitting, and again, I'm sitting. She's not telling me. I'm eating, and then I hear my mom telling my grandmother, "Oh, I'm going with him." And I remember that was really painful for me. It's like, what? Now you're leaving for someone that you fall in love. Now you're
Mm-hmm.
leaving for love, for a man. And that one, it did make me mad. That part,
Mm-hmm.
I did carry it for a long time. Yeah.
So, Twiggy, after your mom first left, you went through a lot of important life milestones, a lot of development, the realization that your father had died, that you weren't going to see him again, seeing your little brother grow up. Given that you're a mother now and that you have the perspective that you have, do you understand why your mother left you and the decision that she made?
When she left us for the many first times that before my stepdad showed up in our lives, when I met, in that time, I never questioned because I knew she came to work to give us a better life. So at
Mm-hmm.
that moment, I never questioned like why she left us, even though it was painful, but I didn't question it. It's been many years of talking about it. Um, it took her a long time to really understand. I think the type of work that I have, it has been healing for me because I deal with families who have to leave their kids in order to immigrate to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see the impact when they have a reunification. because there is a lot of pain. There is a lot of not understanding. In my case, when I reunited with my mom, there were no children. It was just me. But when I work with my families and I see when they reunite with their kids, with their teens now, they left them maybe at age 1. And when they reunify, they're
Mm-hmm.
12, 15. It is without seeing them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in all these years, as you were growing up, and I was, I think we're about the same age, and I remember vividly how it was like in the 80s in China. It was a very, very different world from the US. How did you picture the US in your mind? Like, I'm curious what you thought of it.
For me, it didn't have like a biggest expectation. I think for me, it was more I wanted to be with my mother. And when her father died, she have to come back to Mexico. And I said, like, you're not living without me. I'm coming with you. And you're not leaving. By the way, after I graduated from middle school, I did make my suitcase because in my mind, I was leaving next week. And I had a suitcase for a year waiting. I was giving things away because I was going to come to United.
What was in this suitcase?
My clothes, my dolls. I have dolls. I love dolls. So I would put my dolls in there. Something that I carry for a long time. I was a teenager, but I like dolls. So I would put my clothes, sweaters, wherever I thought I would need here. I would take things in and out because I didn't want to take things away from my suitcase because I was ready to come. I was ready to fly to the United States.
You were ready to be
Yes.
reunited with your mom.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So when she came, I'm like, you're not leaving. And she told an acquaintance, a family member, she's like, this girl, she wants to go with me. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to bring her. Because I did try to get my visa 2 times. And those 2 times were denied because my mother wasn't a citizen. She was a resident. So I'm like, okay, I tried to do it a nice way. And then, so I have this family, and then she said, oh, don't worry, I bring her. And my mom got the ticket, and then we came to the United States in June. In June, it'll be like, I don't know, 1991. So, yeah.
Do you remember the night before you made the trip to the US?
No, I remember the week before I was coming
The
here.
week before, wow.
It was a whole week because it was in that time. It called Acapulco 1991. It was a huge festival. So it was a really like worldwide singers and da 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 da. So I remember that it was like, it's my last week. I need to party. And I would like go to nightclubs and stay with my friends and, just having a lot of fun. And then the day I was just ready. I was just so ready. And my grandmother came, my brother came, my close family came to leave me to the airport. And I remember I said goodbye and I didn't want to turn back. I didn't want to turn back. And yes, of course I cried, but it was my time. Like I said, no, I'm not turning back. And of course, eventually I felt sad. Like, oh my God, how come I didn't say goodbye and cry? I didn't even cry. I mean, I cried, but it was like, again, like I just cried for myself. It was, and keep moving. It's time to move on. My grandma wrote me a beautiful letter, and it took me months to open that letter. I didn't want to read it. Yeah.
Well, why is that?
I don't know. I knew I was going to cry, and I don't like to cry. She told me not to cry.
That's right. She did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened when you finally opened the letter?
Oh, I cried. I cried a lot. And I think it's somewhere there. There's some things that I hold. I don't let go, Even though there's things that I look like I let go things, but there are certain things that are very meaningful and I still have it and take care of it, in a special place. So yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember what she said in the letter?
Well, I think she said a lot of beautiful things, that she was very proud of me, that I finally opened my wings like a butterfly. And it's interesting because when I came to the United States, I learned that butterflies are like symbol of migration, So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah. I always understood it to be kind of symbols of metamorphosis. But yeah, that's really beautiful. I love
Mhm.
that. It also is a symbol of immigration. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we've talked about you leaving, but we want to talk a little bit more in detail about your trip to the United States. What do you remember about the trip coming from Mexico to the United States?
Or what do I remember? So we came to Tijuana. Our plane was landed in Tijuana, and then we were going to cross. And then this person, he used to help people to cross. And at the time, he's like, okay, let's try the line. Let's get out and see. But whatever I supposed to say, I got blanked. Like whatever we were practicing to say, when they asked me, where are you from? They said in English, I don't understand. And then I got blanked. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I don't understand. What is they saying? And like, I don't know. And then they took me to a room. They like took my fingerprints. It was horrible. It's really like, but for me, it was not horrible. I mean, now when I see it, it's horrible. But at that time, it was like, oh, I'm going through all this. This is new for me. My life was so perfect in a way that this was something new. I was like, oh, and then they turned me back. And then when we get out of the offices to enter to the United States, I was right in Tijuana. This person, it was like, coyotes, the people that brings people to the United States.
Yes.
It was so many. It was like
Mhm.
like 5 or 6 or 10. I have no idea. They surrounded us and they said, "Where are you going?" Of course, the United States, and they asked like, "How much you have?" We just
Mhm.
crossed them right now because this other person, he could have taken us to different place, but he said, "No, I tried to take them." Said, no, within you will jump. They will get there right away, and maybe like with 15-20 minutes, we cross. We
Wow.
were already in the US.
Did you feel afraid when you were actually crossing?
No, I was not afraid. For me, there was a lot of excitement because that was something new. And thanks God, it was very easy. I didn't risk my safety. I was safe, you know. But when I do think about these families and these people who don't only come, not only from Mexico to the United States is relatively easy, we can say, which is not easy either. I don't want to beautify it. No, it's not easy because we see people dying and we see people paying a lot of money and they never make it. I mean, I was lucky, but I see families who are not, they lose someone, or people who come from farther, Venezuela, Colombia, and have to go to only one country, but to many different countries. It can be very scary and painful. So for me, it was not. For me, I was lucky to make it that easy and that fast, and only for $100 that I pay because that's all I had in my pocket. My grandma gave me $100 in case I wanted to buy a chocolate, so that helped me to pay.
So you gave that $100 to the guy who helped you, and then you had no money, no cash on you after that.
My
Did you have your suitcase with you?
I know my suitcase was with my mom already. I didn't have my
Okay.
suitcase with me. I didn't come alone. We were three girls who jumped together. We all crossed. One of them was my aunt, my youngest aunt, and she had a bag with quarters. So it was not one guy. It was like a lot of people like helping us. That's why I'm saying that we were. It was a moment like someone was taking care of us because it was very easy and very cheap. Right now, to cross is people pay like 14,000, 15,000 to
Yeah.
bring you to the United States, and you never
And they
know
may
if they'll
never
make
make
it.
it.
And
Yeah.
they might not make it.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I want to make sure I'm not beautifying my experience because out there it's very difficult for many people.
Yeah. I can see that you're very grateful for all of the pieces that fell into place for you to be able to make it safely.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you're in California. What was it like seeing California for the first time? Did it look different than Mexico?
As a child, I used to watch all these Disney movies that it was so different. But when I came here, I feel it was way better than Disney movies. But I'm gonna tell you why. Because it was very diverse. It was a lot of diversity. People from all over the world. It was people who were different than me, who speaks different language, who dress different. That for me fascinated me. It's like, oh my God, what language do you speak? And what language do you speak? And I wanted to learn, like, how do you say this in your language? I mean, that's the beauty, the food. You know, I'm a person who I love food and I never say, I don't like to say ill to any type of food. I don't like to say that because I feel that's disrespect to the other cultures. You know, I tried. If I don't like it, I just don't eat it again, but it doesn't mean it's bad. Maybe I'm not used to that. No.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. I really loved that about the United States. Yes, it was different because in Mexico I used to live in a house and we used to play outside and have a lot of friends. And whether it was safe or unsafe, I was safe because it was my home. But when I moved here first, we ended up in a studio. My mom had to rent in a studio because I was coming and she needed to have a place to bring me. And she rented in a studio. For me, it was curious because I didn't know that existed. It was like, oh my God, this is like a dollhouse. For me, that was a dollhouse. And then
Yes.
everything is small, like little table, little kitchen. But I knew if I had to come, I knew it was going to be different. It was not going to be a home because my mom's mother, she would always mention how hard it was, the United States. She would always tell me, oh, the way you live, you will never last in the United States because people work too much, because you live in an apartment, because you do this. And, and I made it because I didn't go back. And now she's like, oh my God, I didn't think you was going to be able to handle this type of life. Lack of freedom. like in what, and lack of freedom not only is like work and home. No,
Yeah.
no family,
Yeah.
no friends, like you
Yeah.
in Mexico. Yeah.
That's interesting. It's because you always hear the term, America, the land of the free, but you're absolutely right. In a lot of ways, we don't have a lot of freedom in the way we live. The lifestyles that people have here.
Mhm.
So, do you remember the first moment that you were reunited with your mom? Do you remember when that was or where you were?
Yeah. First, when I came here, when I crossed, I went to LA to Santa Ana. I was in Santa Ana, California, for
Hmm.
about a month. because since I'm already here, just go to Disneyland and go and enjoy and see things before you come to San Francisco. And after a month, my uncle and his wife, my aunt and her husband, drove us to San Francisco. We came to 24th and Mission. That's where my apartment was. 23rd in Valencia, and it was a gas station, 96 gas station. So we got there, and that's where my mom came, and like we were happy, and like, oh my God, this is so happy, it's so nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's just such a feeling of celebration.
Yes,
It
totally,
feels like throughout that whole journey.
totally. It was really nice to see my mom and my stepdad.
Do you remember the first time you took public transportation living in that area of San Francisco?
Yes, my mom was not like my grandmother. My grandmother never allowed, I could never take the bus in Mexico, but my mother, she had to work. So when I went to school, she told me, I will take you one time to the place where you need to take the bus. I will take you to your school and you figure it out how you come back home because I cannot pick you up and by bus. So she took me, and then eventually it was easy because the good thing, at least in California, I don't know other places, there was a lot of people who speak Spanish. So it's not like I'm in a place where people don't speak my language. Of course, I'm afraid the first time I do it. But eventually I think it did help me to live with my mom. My grandmother would wake me up. Do you want to, Twiggy, wake up, wake up, wake up, come eat breakfast. And you, of course, you're a teenager. You don't want to wake up until whatever you want. My mom says, you want to go to school? Put your alarm, get ready, because you're not going to wake me up. I'm not going to do any breakfast. And that's it. So I start being independent. I started to get up by myself, do my breakfast, and go to school and take the bus to go to school. So that's how, I mean, it did help me. If I think in that way, it did help me.
Yeah. By the time she was your age, your mom had already had you. So I'm sure she had a high expectation for your ability to be independent.
Yeah, yeah. And also her personality is like that too. And she's young too. I mean, at the time I came, she was maybe 35, very young. No.
Yeah. So what grade were you in when you went to school in San Francisco?
Well, because of the situations that I told you I had after my dad died and my
Yeah.
mom, I was having a lot of trouble, a lot of difficulties with school. I failed one grade, like third grade. I have to repeat it in Mexico. And then before coming to the United States, I missed another year because I was coming to the United States, so I didn't go to school.
Sure.
So I was 2 years behind. So I was 17 when I came, and they put me in the 10th grade.
Mhm.
But for being an immigrant, for being a newcomer, they did allow me, and I was still underage. They did allow me to go to school at the grade that I was supposed to go, and they did allow me to graduate when I needed to graduate. They didn't hurry me because of my age. So I did graduate pretty old comparing to American kids. Yeah.
We talked a little bit about living with your mom, but I'm curious to know, what was it like when you lived with your mom in the studio apartment? Did your stepfather live with you? What do you remember about that space? Where did you sleep?
Yes. When I don't know how to say chameleon, I'm adjust with wherever I needed because I wanted to. It's not like somebody brought me here. I came because I wanted to, and I knew it was not going to be easy. So yes, my mom and my stepdad, they have their bed, and my day bed was in front of them, and then we lived like that probably for 2 years. And my mom was also trying to move us to a bigger place. 2 years later, my mom found one bedroom apartment because first it's in a studio, now it's one bedroom. The bedroom was hers and my stepdad, and my space was the living room. I didn't really have a hard time or complain about that because the whole living room was mine. They were always in the bedroom watching TV or working, so that didn't bother me to sleep in a one bedroom apartment. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience when I first came to the States. I was in the one room. My parents were in graduate student housing. Like they had one room inside a bigger house, and then the three of us all stayed and lived in that one room
Mhm.
for quite a while. And then we moved to an apartment. It was like above a photo studio, and I lived in the dining room,
Mm.
and that felt so spacious to me at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate what we have. I think also coming from, from our countries is different. It's just different. We adjust if we want to live here. Yeah.
You talked a little bit about your quinceañera and how your stepfather came to your quince. How were holidays different in Mexico versus the holidays that you spent in that first year in the United States?
Well, in Mexico, we didn't have too many holidays. It was only Christmas, New Year's. We have the Epiphany, the Three
Hmm.
Kings, and my birthday. That was the biggest thing. My first year, my Christmas year, it was sad, I would say. I did cry because we were living in the studio actually, and I didn't see my mom trying to make any food or nothing. So I'm like, what are we having for Christmas? And oh, I don't know, you want to go KFC? I'm like, okay. Okay. And then we went to get KFC. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna put the table nice for three of us. That night, my stepdad worked, so he was not at home because he had to work. And my mom, she came. It was 7 o'clock, and she grabbed a chicken, and she's like, "I'm gonna sleep." I'm like, "No, you can't. You have to wait until 11. To wait for Christmas." And she's like, "No, I'm hungry. I'm gonna sleep. It's too late." So I'm like, oh my God. So when I called my family in Mexico, they were celebrating and they were exchanging gifts. And here I was. So I think I spent the rest of my night speaking with a friend, a very good friend of mine. But but that's how I spent my first Christmas. It was sad. It was really that it did hurt me, like it's different. And then, but at the same time, I did realize I made a choice. I want to be here, and now I have to adjust. And that's
Hmm.
what I did. Yeah.
Hmm. Did you miss home, or did you miss Mexico often, and family friends who are still in Mexico?
I think I did, but I was also looking forward. You know,
Hmm.
wanted to do things. I wanted to be here, and at that time, I didn't have papers. So it was not like I could go back. It took me 8 years to go back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for me in that time it was like, oh my God, 8 years without seeing my grandma, 8 years without seeing my brother. No
Yeah.
camera, no video calls, just phone calls.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, coming to America, that journey, even though, it seems pretty perilous, but at the same time, it just really seemed like it was filled with so much celebration and optimism. And as you were saying, you just kept looking forward and forward to what's coming next in life. And so, if you look back to that first year, what were some of the biggest surprises for you or biggest disappointments for you?
Yeah, I mean, even though I'm happy and I'm laughing, it was difficult. It was difficult because the language, it was a new language. I didn't speak any English. Uh, You would say, "How are you?" and I would say, "I was in the car." I was it was terrible. And my stepdad was very patient and was very sweet. And with my mom, even though we have our difficult times, because we did have a lot of difficult times, she was always very sweet. And part of her, she was always trying to take care of me in her own way. I think what it did help me a lot is that I started surrounded by positive people, like people who would want to get to know me. And I met this person that she works in the community, and she's from Mexico City, and she used to do theater. I think theater was that saved me because
Hmm.
I was lost. I was lost in a way that even though I was going to school and I was happy, I couldn't see anything more. I remember this person, when they asked me, Twiggy, what do you want to do? And I didn't know what. I was 20. I just graduated from high school. And then he asked me, what do you want to do? What is your dream? And I had no idea. Now that I'm an adult, I can see oh my God, that was so embarrassing. Because as a child, I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. That's what I wanted to be. But now in the United States, I have no papers. I finished high school. I cannot go to university because it's too expensive. I cannot work because I have no papers. But eventually, I did find people that helped me to get a job through stipends, through different ways. And this person, she was doing theater. And the focus of the theater, it was for high risk youth that were either in gangs or they just were at risk of being involved in gangs. And even though I wasn't that young, probably mentally I was kind of part of that group. And all my friends were very troublemaker too. So I think this person is kind of like one day through her sister. I met her through her sister, and this is her sister. He said, "Hey, come with me. I'm doing theater." So I came there, and that's it. I saw it. I had no idea how to get there. I had no idea. I'm like a many young people. Okay,
Hmm.
I see it. I'm leaving. I'm shy. I don't want to be there. And then one day I received a phone call, and she's like, come and help me. I'm missing an actor. Come in and help me. So I did, and I never left. And from there, I met a lot of beautiful people. Definitely, all of us were newcomers, uh, and I think all of us, or most of us, were kind of
Hmm.
lost. Like we didn't see more. We had no idea how to see more than what we had at that time. And that was the beginning to really enter to this field of work. That was my entrance to the field of work because after being in the play, I became an assistant. I was calling all the actors, the kids who didn't want to come, and like, you need to come to do the play.
It feels like being brought into the world of that theater and that community was a real godsend and a safe place for you to kind of find some roots and find yourself in a way. It's very impressive to me that you seem to always have this such an optimistic outlook on life. And when you were telling the story about the theater experience, it really seemed to be kind of the catalyst for you to find your path and your purpose and your place in your community. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that and to share with other people who may be new to this country about how to gain that sense of belonging.
I think the optimistic it comes from my mom's mother. She's very optimistic. We
Mm-hmm.
always laugh of everything, and we make like jokes of even on the darkest side of our world. We just laugh. Sometimes we shouldn't, but we do. But yes, it definitely, I think, as I was mentioning before, I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. That was because I didn't know better. I used to live in a world, in my environment was surrounded by professors and school teachers and a school dean, always something with the school. And when I came here, the theater was like the first thing that was different and that was fun. But as I mentioned, that was the first what I started putting me in where I am today. And now sometimes I think about myself and I'm like, oh my God, because in my work I have done workshops and I'm a facilitator and I'm a family advocate. And I'm like, I wanted to be a teacher. I'm somehow a teacher, but in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still growing. I'm still like blooming. I'm like, oh my God, I've done all these things. Yes, Instituto, for instance, the place where I work, is a place that have actually reconnected me to a lot of things that maybe when I was in Mexico, it wasn't as deep as here. Like Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. That's one of my favorite celebrations. And it connects me, and I'm kind of like, oh my God, I'm learning even more about maybe of what I did in Mexico. Because I'm here with different people. When I see people who do the Aztec dance, that is so beautiful. I used to think it's like a dance, but no, it's a prayer. I've learned that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more
Yeah.
connected to my past. Now I'm connected. Like, okay, like when I came here, people would be like, "What's your background?" I have no idea what to answer because I was never asked that in Mexico. You know, I'm Mexican. What do you want me to say? And then, no, your background, your background. I'm like, okay, let me go deep in my background. What I don't know, and that's where I learned. Like my grandma's father, he was a Filipino coming
Oh,
in Mexico.
interesting.
Wow.
Um, I have also Afro descendant in my family, but my last name is French, but I don't know French because I'm Mexican. My great great grandmother, she come from an area from Oaxaca where they have a different language, and she used to speak it. I don't, but also okay, that's the indigenous culture, and that's what I also have. And I try to be and I don't try. I'm proud of my roots. I'm proud of who I am, and that's what I want also to bring to my children, who
Mm-hmm.
we are.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if you were face to face with your 17-year-old self, right before she left Mexico, what would you say to her?
I would hug her very tight, and say thank you. Thank you because you were
Mm.
not afraid to go to the place that you had no idea what were you going to find. And you did it. And thanks to that, this is where I am.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, thank you so much, Twiggy. Sophia, any last notes from you?
No, thank you so much, Tricky. I really enjoyed hearing your story and learned so much.
Thank you. I'm very welcome. Thank you so much for allowing me to tell my story. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. My First Year in America is an original Sophia Media production, created by me, Sophia.
This episode was produced by senior producer Gabby Watts with creative direction by Shireen Anderson and co-hosted by Sophia and me, Adoley Amatego.
Check out our website for sophiamedia.co/myfirstyear for more episodes and other shows in the My First Year series, and also for social links where you can join our online community.